Hello and welcome to the special edition of Talk Time. My guest today is filmmaker Roopa Barua, someone who has mastered the art of documenting real-life stories. Her film, Daughters of the Polo God, has drawn rave reviews across the world and has already bagged some coveted national and international awards. Roopa Barua, welcome to my show.
Thank you.
You see, you have done three fantastic documentaries, Riders of the Mist, Sisters of the Trees, and now Daughters of the Polo God, and all real-life stories. How did all this come about, and why this focus on absolutely real happenings?
Okay. For me, documentary is the real world. You know, the best story that you can say is about reality.
Right.
And that's where my whole documentary passion started. Somebody like a Mike Myers from America or Werner Herzog, those were my gurus, so to speak. And I really wanted to follow the footsteps. And I wanted to bring it to the people of India. You know, when we talk documentary in India, it is usually a very boring, people just talking heads and, all of that. And I just wanted to kind of take it away from there into a completely different, I just wanted to do a paradigm shift on that. And my first film, Riders of the Mist, was completely experimental. Like, I had songs in the film. People thought I was crazy. But we had 2 songs in the film. And the first song was...
2 songs in the film.
In a documentary.
This is about the bareback...
This is about the bareback riders
horse riding.
Jorhat, yes.
Jorhat races.
Yes, the Jorhat races. And Jorhat is my hometown.
Absolutely. So it's my hometown too.
Yes. So you understand the whole Jorhat feeling, right? And I really wanted to take those stories to the world. I mean, these are such little precious stories that we have that the world needs to know. And I grew up watching the races. I'm sure you did too.
So, absolutely. So in the Gymkhana, Jorhat Gymkhana field.
Yes, and we saw the ponies and we saw the riders. So I went to the riders. I said I wanted to, I knew I was doing this film. And I said, I want to see your horses. They says, the horses don't live here. They live in the Sapuri. So I said, but like, how do you bring them? And the Brahmaputra was right in the middle.
Right.
And they're telling me that we bring them, they just swim and come. And for me, that was like a very visual, cinematic feel I had. I said, I have to, take the story to the world.
The horses swimming the mighty river.
Yes, they swim the mighty river, they come, they do the races, and then they go back. It was an amazing story. So that's how Riders happened.
Now, Riders started, of course, you had a connect with your hometown, Jorhat. Then suddenly you decided to do the Sisters of the Trees, and that took you to a small village or a small place in Rajasthan with an Argentinian, filmmaking trio.
Yes.
That was very interesting story again. Every birth of a girl child and the family plants 111 trees, and it was quite a contrasting picture earlier.
Yes.
So how did you stumble upon this particular story?
Yeah, I stumbled on it in a way that the Argentinian consulate kind of called me, saying that they were looking for a co-producer.
Yeah.
They were looking for a woman, because it was a women empowerment film. And they went through a bunch of producers. I think they really liked me, and we just mutually chose. Yeah.
See, these two are real RT, stories, which perhaps everybody sees it, but nobody has been able to pick it up, project it to the outside world in a manner that you did. Now, talking about these Daughters of the Polo God, it's a very fascinating story. Not many people see. For the Manipuris, polo is like having, water with their meals. It's like taking a fish to water.
Yeah.
Now, the point is the outside world don't even know that modern polo originated in Manipur.
Yes.
So, that's quite an interesting story to capture this whole thing. And as you said somewhere, you are documenting the polo sisterhood.
Yes.
That's the word you used.
Yes.
Can you tell about these Daughters of the Polo God? By the way, you have bagged quite a few awards for this film.
Thank you. So I had gone to Manipur during polo to show Riders of the Mist. They wanted to show a horse-related film to the polo community. And at that point, the person who ran this tournament, he said, we have some money to shoot. They were expecting a BBC crew to come and shoot the horses and the polo, and the BBC crew didn't turn up. They said, you've shot horses, if you've actually done, some horse shooting before, would you be interested? And I said, why not, And
So it was quite accidental, isn't it?
It started off very accidental.
Yeah.
But Wasbir, believe me, it blew my mind when I go there and I see these girls who are from. It's a middle class. It's not an elitist polo that they play in Delhi or Jaipur.
Right.
And the horses were almost an endangered species. And the way they caught the West's attention was that they were getting, because it was the heritage place of polo, right? And then there's the horse.
And that is the oldest polo ground in the world?
Yes, it's the oldest living polo ground in the
world.
world.
Oldest living polo ground,
which is very, very interesting. The kings have played there for like 600, 700, 800 years. I mean, I'm not kidding on that. And you
the
see...
Meitei kings.
Yes, the Meitei kings. So I saw this story. Here we have girls who are exploding in their sisterhood of wanting to play polo. Here we have foreign nations coming in, where nobody in India cares about that, but we have the US, we have the Canada, we have whoever is coming in to play polo, and we have a horse that needs to be saved. I mean,
the Manipuri pony.
The pony, which is.
No, you talked about you are actually touching on a very, very important subject. It's about the heritage game.
Yes.
Not just the game of polo, not just a living polo ground in the world, oldest living polo ground in the world. It's also about the animal.
Yes.
The Manipuri pony.
Yes.
Now, couple of years ago, the number was less than 2,000, and now we understand. You will know better that the population of the Manipuri pony stands roughly about 500.
Yes, even less.
So it's a very critical situation.
Yes. So that was the whole reason of actually bringing polo in with the girls. Save the Manipuri Pony was a campaign that was started by this person called Somi Roy.
Okay.
And when you start a campaign on activism is a dirty word. Right? And Somi was not making much headway because, when you become an activist, nobody wants to talk to you. So he said, how can I make it interesting for people that they'll come and do something around these horses? And what better than polo for Manipur? They want to play polo. They're natural horsemen and horsewomen. So the girls were roped in. And that's how we got the attention of the world. At which point India comes back and says, hey, we want to partner with you. Manipur tourism was the first one that started. The Manipur government, this is all blessed by the Manipur government. Now we have, and after America came in, after Canada came in, now we have like Incredible India coming in. Incredible India is also sponsoring the tournament. Bombay Stock Exchange is our cup.
Bombay Stock Exchange.
Yes.
So if I'm not mistaken, the Daughters of the Polo God, apart from everywhere else, it was also screened at the Bombay Stock Exchange.
Yes, and we had a full house of 600 people or more because they are so invested in this whole project. Where there's a pony to be saved, there are girls that are playing.
But that's very interesting. Bombay Stock Exchange coming in to support the game as well as the Manipuri pony.
Yes, I mean, they do not support sport at all, as in they are not sponsors in any sport, and this is probably the first and the only sport that they're supporting. And it has a lot to do with, the girls coming up playing. There's an exploding polo sisterhood. Last year we had 4 foreign teams. We always have 4 foreign teams coming in.
Yeah.
And last year we had Argentina coming in. I had met the Argentinian Consulate General and I said, hey, Argentina is the mecca of polo.
Right.
So they have a huge polo there. And I told this Mr. Consulate General, I said, we play polo in Manipur, please send your girls. He said, I'll send you a good team. And I said, fine, but what people say, right?
Right. Now the Manipuri women's polo team, the girls, they every year they play with a US team, isn't it?
They play with 4 international teams.
4 international
we get 6 teams.
And is every match played in Manipur or they also go out to play?
No, we play a full tournament in Manipur. This is not exhibition matches. We play a tournament for a whole week.
So the international players, they come to
Manipur, yeah.
And what are the horses the international players use? Are they the local horses they use?
Horses,
so don't they find it difficult to handle the local horses?
They do. It's like, if you're driving a bigger car, you can drive a smaller car also.
All right. So in a sense that this was a sport that was waiting to be exposed to the international community. Yeah. And isn't it a tragedy that a game which originated in Manipur, in remote northeastern India, took so many years to be recognized by us.
Yes,
by us.
We didn't recognize it. The British came and took it from them. Because it had died down everywhere else, the Manipuris were still playing it. The kings were playing it. And there was a British gentleman in the 18th century, he just took it. It was basically for the army. Cavalry, right? The horses on the cavalry and the guys just exercising the horses and getting exercised in the process. That's all it was, right?
Absolutely.
And this man takes it to Calcutta, then he takes it to Jaipur, Delhi, and of course London. So we call Manipur the birthplace, Calcutta is the cradle, and Jaipur is the
Manipur
crown.
The birthplace, Calcutta the cradle, and
Jaipur is the crown of polo.
The crown of polo.
Yes.
That's what, on that note, to go for a short break. Don't go away. I'll be right back in conversation with filmmaker Roopa Barua on this very, very interesting subject of her film Daughters of the Polo God, which is about polo in Manipur. Welcome back. I am in conversation with filmmaker Roopa Barua, fresh with the success of her documentary Daughters of the Polo God. Roopa, polo. Your film, the protagonist of your film is just a teenager who started. It's a real life. It's not an actor who is acting in the film. It's a real polo player. Now, she started quite early. Now, my question is, while asking you to talk about a little bit about your protagonist, but it was a men's game.
Yes.
For centuries, the men in Manipur had actually played polo, and the women were, Manipur is a very conservative, the Meiteis are very conservative people. The women are in conservative roles. And how did they take to polo, and how did you project in the film? Did you have any problems while projecting this? How did you handle this?
Manipuri women are natural athletes. I mean, look at the Mary Kom and Chanu and all of those girls. So that athletic ability was in them. It was just waiting to come out. And these girls, the fathers have played polo. Everybody in the family
Uncles
has played.
Everybody.
They all play polo. They all ride horses. They are the most natural in riding horses and playing polo. So I think it was just about time that these girls had to start. And they started, and the competitions followed, the tournament followed. They were born at the right time.
They were born at the right time, and contrary to expectations, or people might have expected in some other more conservative places, is that unlike them, the women in Manipur, the girls in Manipur, got the full support of their families.
They do. They absolutely.
I think that is what is behind the success.
Yes, they are very empowered in their own ways. Manipuri women are very, very empowered by the men and the women. I mean, everybody empowers, the society empowers them, which I thought was, not anywhere else in India. Maybe the Northeast for a bit, but nowhere else. You'll see that.
Now, when you took your film around the world, it has gone into most of the important film festivals. You bagged several awards, including the New York Indian Film Award, Festival, the Asian Indian Film Festival, and the Rajasthan International Film Festival, and another film fest in New York, so on and so forth, 5 to 6 major awards. Now, my question is, did people ask you about the Northeast? Because films can be a big medium to project a region, a place, and the people. Apart from just projecting a game of polo or talking about the ponies, did you get this question about people asking about the place, the people, the region?
Yes, there was a lot of that, internationally of course, but even in India, even in Mumbai, even in Delhi, probably tomorrow in Guwahati, people will say we didn't know it existed. Nobody knows, even it's coming out now, but people did not know that the girls were playing polo, that polo was such a big game. That polo actually originated in Manipur, nobody knew.
So in a way, it's the failure of the mainstream media.
Yes, it
people
absolutely
like us.
is. Yes, absolutely. The media that is sitting in the power centers in India, we have very little compassion for the remote corners of the country, unless it is talking about drugs in Myanmar, and I don't know what it is, or the political unrest. That was the thing about Manipur. When I had to go there, people told me, "Hey, be careful. There's so much unrest." But let me tell you, Wasbir, it's the most peaceful place that I go to. Of course, there is stuff. But when we play, we have 20 international players who come in. Nobody complains. There's no complaint at all. And that says a lot about the Manipuri people and the culture.
Absolutely. Nice to hear that. Yes, of course, yes, I fully endorse.
Yeah.
Because they're the most cultured people.
Very, very.
They are it's the sporting hub of the country, cultural hub of the country. But I must also put on record for my viewers that Hindi films are banned, still continues to be banned in Manipur, and there has been hardly any effort by the Hindi film industry also to come and talk to the major players there. Anyway, let's not go into that. That's beside the point in today's conversation. But, how do you pick up your subjects? How do you look for a documentary filmmaker? It is like, a correct representation of the true story.
Right.
It's much more challenging. Do you think fictionalizing a particular event or fictionalizing a particular situation is easier than trying to portray something which is actually happening?
Both
The
have
real
their
story.
both have their pros and cons. Fiction, you can do so much more. You can express so much more because you have the bandwidth to do it. Documentary, you have to stay to the truth, right? So they both have their pros and cons. But for me, documentary, and now with my third documentary, people say, what's next? Because I'm bringing in unusual stories, like nobody knew about these horses from Jorhat that
The
swam
feral
the river.
horses.
The feral horses that swam the semi-feral. Then nobody knew about these girls who played polo. Nobody knew about that Piplantri little town. And now I think
Piplantri in Rajasthan,
yes,
where
and now like the onus is on me to like, what's your next most unique story? I think you have to bring out the unique stories. I think that's the key. Yeah.
So what is the unique story that you're going to tell next time?
We just hope
Is
something
it going to
comes
come
out.
from your
I
hometown of
want to-
Jorhat once again?
I want to do Assam.
You want to do
Yes,
Assam?
I want to do a feature film.
You want to do a feature film
Yes,
now?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, so feature will, I think I want to base it out of Assam.
See, we are talking at a time when film industry is once again on a comeback.
Yes, it is.
In Assam.
Yes.
We
Very
had
good
so
times for
many
us, yeah.
very good time.
Yeah.
And talk about the last 2 weeks. It has
Yes.
been fantastic for the
Yes.
Assamese film
Yeah.
industry. Zubin Garg's Kanchenjunga, it was a
Kanchenjunga.
massive hit.
Yes, yes.
After that came the
Rima's.
award-winning Bulbul Can
It's
Sing,
amazing
Rima
film.
Das's, and
Yes.
both of them are on this same
I know.
place where we are sitting today.
I know.
How do you feel, really?
When I did Riders of the Mist, which was 2015, which is when it went around, Assam had VCDs happening at that point.
Yeah.
The whole industry was in VCDs. From that day to today, we have Rima, we have Bhaskar Hazarika, who's fantastic.
Absolutely.
And then
We have
Zubin-
Janu Barua with Bhoga
Janu
Kriki,
Barua, and
Broken
then there's
Window
so
and
many
so on.
more. And then, of course, Zubin comes in with blockbusters.
Yeah.
So I think we are very well poised today. People are taking note of Assam lot in the international world.
And particularly with the film circuit,
Yeah,
filmmaker
exactly.
after filmmaker
Yeah.
making it big.
Yes.
Uh,
They
and-
want to know what the next story is, like who the next filmmakers are.
Right.
Because when we go to all these festivals, they'll be like, so who are the new people who are making the more interesting stories? So which says a lot.
But with this attention being focused on Assam, with attention being focused on the filmmakers from Assam, don't you think it adds to the responsibility of people like you?
It does. It does. To bring out the real stories, to not sensationalize, stuff, not to make it. It gives you, as you have a voice, so you have responsibility. That's what I think. Today I have a voice to say whatever I want, but that also comes with a lot of responsibility. So I cannot misuse it. And in the documentary world, it's even more so.
But do you think people have matured, general people? I'm not talking about the critics, I'm not talking about the jury members, I'm talking about the general film goers. Do you think they have arrived at a point where they can appreciate a documentary? What is your feeling? Because in this January itself, after your New York, where your Daughters of the Polo God was screened for the first time, your second screening and the first screening in India was obviously in Manipur.
It was in Manipur.
That's what you did.
Yes.
It's a hall of a size of 500-600 maybe.
Yes, like Rabindra Bhavan.
Like Rabindra Bhavan.
Yes.
It was full.
Yeah.
Now, what is the sense that you get? I'm not asking about people in Manipur. I'm
Right.
just asking about general. Do you think people in India have come to appreciate documentaries?
People, it might be too early for documentaries, but people want stories. People want interesting stories. That's what I feel. And when I'm taking my film around and there's people in the audience, it's like a theater. It's more intimate. If I have a feature film that's being broadcast to like 100 halls, I will make a feature film, I'll know then better, but today it's a very intimate thing for me. Like I'm showing it at Brahmaputra Valley Film Festival a day from now, and there'll be, whatever many people in the audience, and they'll all come and talk to me later. That's a very intimate feeling.
That
it's almost
connect.
like theater. Yeah.
Almost like theater,
Yeah.
because theater is the only medium where you
Yes.
have the audience right in front of you.
Yes.
If you're an actor, you are connecting directly. You
Yes.
see how the people are reacting from the
Yes.
corner of your eyes,
Yes.
even if you're doing
so
your
that's
act.
what's happening to me right now, and that's why I'm loving the format.
Absolutely loving the format of documentaries, and Roopa Barua all set to come up with her first debut feature film. We'll wait for that. On that note, I'll go for another short break. Stay on, don't go away. I'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm still in conversation with filmmaker Roopa Barua. Roopa, we've been talking about Daughters of the Polo God. Now, what about the commerce? People would like to know, how does a documentary filmmaker survive? That is something which a lot of people may like to know. Now, do you sell the film? People obviously don't buy tickets and come to see a documentary. So how do you do it?
Sure. The way we do the whole documentary marketing, if that's the word I have to use, all the festivals, the commerce, the festivals are just to create the buzz and give me credentials as a director.
Right.
That's what we do. And I have gone through, they are in dozens right now. It's going to go through the end of this year. After that, you hope to sell it to like a Netflix or an Amazon, like an OTT channel, and that's or TV. Riders is on Epic TV and they show it every few months or whatever.
Right.
So in those days it was only TV. Today we have, and those days it was DVDs also. People did buy your DVDs for $20 a piece or whatever, right? But today it's mostly OTT, as in Netflix, Amazon, Hotstar, one of those. So that's where I'm going.
Okay, that is how the commerce works as far as now. Do you think the government, now Assam government, let's talk about Assam, because out of your 3 major movies, major documentaries, I would say, 2 are from the northeastern region, 1 is from Assam, and you are saying, that your next is also going to be set in Assam. Now my question is, the Assam government just now come up with a new film policy, and that has a special chunk for documentary filmmakers as well. I don't know whether you've seen that.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. Now, do you think the governments can play a role? Like, for example, the Manipur government has really backed Daughters of the Polo God. Do you think the government, as a documentary filmmaker, do you think the government should come forward to encourage filmmakers to come up with documentaries?
They absolutely should. And that's how, the best documentaries you see in the world, the European and the American, especially the European, the government funds a bunch of the documentaries. There's state funding, there's all kinds of grants they get to do the documentaries, because when you know that it is not as commercially viable, but you still need it to, take society to the next level, because you're archiving the truth of society, right? Archiving the realities of society. You need somebody to do it.
Now, you see, we have a popularly elected government in Assam. The film fraternity in the state have been waiting for several years now for a new film policy. Finally, it has come. From this platform, from this show, what would you like to tell Chief Minister Sarbananda Sonowal? Especially, what should he do for the documentary filmmakers? How can he come to their aid?
They need to put together, certain plans in place as to what needs to be documented out of Assam. Today, just to give you a little example, the polo that I'm doing, it's not just one film. I have been documenting every year now. Funds are in place to document it every year.
Okay.
Yes, and I have only taken the first 4 years and done the film out of it.
So
yes.
Even after that, you are documenting every year the polo in Manipur during the time of the tournament.
Yes, the one tournament, that's the funds are there.
So what is the end product going to be?
It's documentation.
Okay, I know that you are documenting and keeping it in your, are you keeping it as an archive?
They are archiving it.
They're archiving it.
Yeah.
But there is no point in making another film on it.
I don't think so, not right now. I mean, I'll come back with the story in 10 more years. Let's see where the story takes itself.
Okay.
That's a different thing.
But the government is documenting.
Yes, it's just a pure documentation process, as you would do at a museum or an archival.
Okay,
which is very important.
But that's a very interesting concept. The Manipur government, that means, is
the tourism,
after your film, the tourism department. I think there is a lesson for the tourism department in Assam as well.
Yes, we have to do it,
We have the Jorhat races that needs to be documented every year, perhaps. Because
there's lots of heritage festivals here that need to be documented, and the government is the right body to do it. Or a semi-autonomous body. Somebody needs to do this. Somebody needs to come and say, hey, this is how we are preserving the culture. Otherwise, what are you doing? The libraries...
So now suppose the fight between environmentalists and real-life situations. Now, we had the bullfights, buffalo fights.
Yes.
Not the bullfights. We had the buffalo fights, which is a traditional sport of Assam.
The hen fight.
Hen fights, little bird fights. And so on and so forth. Now, question is, now the government of India had banned because of activism by, just like the Jallikattu in the south. Now, the question is, as a filmmaker, how do you see that? So, would you like to make a documentary on the buffalo fight, for example?
I try to stay away from violent stuff. I'm not a very good person around blood. So, I would just stay away. It's just me. But then there is a very big film on Jallikattu which is out now. It's going through all the big festivals in the world. So there are people who will do it. and they should do it. And somebody should
Why will
document
you
it.
not do it?
I'm just very meek around blood. It's just me. It has nothing to do. Also, I am, we are coming to a point in the world where we are saying that, preserve the don't be cruel to animals. Don't get them into fights just because you want to go, and it's not a spectator sport, what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now that's a very interesting thing which the Manipur government is doing, documenting polo every year and archiving it. I think there's a lesson for the Assam
Yes.
Tourism Department.
Yes.
Now another question I'd like to ask, is when you look for a subject, you just do it because you don't have to do a screenplay for that, because you don't have to study whether it is going to click or not. You are passionate about a subject and you do it.
It's complete contrary to that.
In
my
what
way,
do you think?
screenplay, yes, it's a documentary, so you don't need a bounded script. You need a script in a certain way. But whatever I have done, Riders of the Mist, small town story, very unique story, and something that globally everybody would connect, and they connected. This film connected more outside of India than in India. Every award I got for that was outside. Yeah. Polo again, it's a women's story, it's a girl story, it's a girl power story, it's a sport, it's a remote corner of India, it's a unique story. So that's why I did it. I kind of follow my heart, but you have to be practical about what you're following also. So if you look at all my stories.
Out of the 3 docus, 2 are absolutely related to women's empowerment.
Yes.
The polo, Daughters
Yes.
of the Polo Cow,
And the
as well as the
Sister of the
Rajasthan
Trees,
story,
yeah.
the Sisters of the Trees.
Yes.
Back of your mind, are you consciously working on women's empowerment? No.
Absolutely not.
It just happened to be.
Yes. I like the stories. They worked for me. To tell a story, you have to connect with the audience, right? It has to be interesting, or else who's going to watch your film, right? These stories were interesting. But I also found my Jorhat story had no women in it, period, no women.
No women.
Yeah.
Now, all good conversations have to end, Roopa. Finally, what is it that you want to be known for as a documentary filmmaker will give you more satisfaction, or you are yet to taste, the success of a feature film?
Yeah.
So, are you looking forward to your feature film? What do you think?
I am, and I just want to tell the most unique stories.
What language is your feature film going to be?
It has to be Assamese. If it's an Assam, see, we all speak a little bit of everything. I think it will imitate real life, but the core of it has to be Assamese. It's the only way, and that's what I think. The way I think of Assam, I cannot think of it in English. I cannot think of it in any other language.
You were a banker. You were educated abroad. You were a banker. You were with the
Morgan Stanley.
Yeah,
I was at Morgan Stanley. Yeah, New York. Yeah.
You were in New York and San Francisco.
Yes.
And from there, you transformed into a documentary filmmaker, documenting real life stories. And now you are on the verge of being transformed into a filmmaker who will make feature films as well.
I hope so.
Is it destiny? How do you look at it? Did you work for it, or it just happened?
Yes. No, I worked for it. I worked for it. I really wanted to follow my passion, and the passion was to tell stories. Yeah.
You follow your passion. Passion was to tell stories. Roopa Barua, we'll all be waiting for your feature film. Thank you very much for being on my show.
Thank you.